That's right. We're talking about a rock climbing anime today. Yes, but you know what's more important than those rocks? Your rocks, as in your balls. Because Bad Anime today is sponsored by Manscaped. You can go to manscaped.com, use our code BAD20, that's BAD20 at checkout to get 20% off anything at the store. We will appreciate it, and so will your balls. Now let's talk rock climbing, baby.
It's bad. Anime.
I am primed, lubed up, ready to go. Don't hurt me, muscle mommy.
Well, I am chalky in the hands.
Well, put some lotion on, sailor, because this is Bad Anime.
Indeed it is. We're back. This is our first recording of 2023. It is good to be
God,
back.
it is.
I know. And just like everybody envisioned, January is a very, very special month every year for everybody around the world because a lot of people do this thing called dry January. And we decided here at Bad Anime to fucking not do that.
We didn't talk about this. I think we just kind of said, you both said, no, I'm going to stick to my guns. We both have a lot going on in our personal, professional
Yes,
lives.
we
So
do.
it's like stressful right now.
It is very
If I
stressful.
want to relax with anywhere from 3 to 12 cold bush lights, I'm going to do it.
That's right. To 12. But that caught me off guard for a second.
Well, come on, it's Sailor. It's Sunday Fun Day.
And I'll tell you how I've been relaxing lately with this tall boy.
No. Oh my God. Okay, I thought I was trying to raise hell, but no, you are going full agent of chaos again.
Yes.
Do you want to say what's in your hand, or should
Ladies
I
and
say it?
gentlemen, I have in my possession a tall boy, a Victory Golden Monkey, which is
A tall boy.
9.5% alcohol by volume. I bought this puppy about a month ago, and I haven't had a chance to drink it yet, or I guess I just haven't been excited to get really just messed up yet since then. But today, I felt like, it's a first
today's
recording
the day.
of 2023, and we're going to talk about girls rock climbing. So what other better way than to crack open a Victory Gold Monkey and just, ruin my life for the rest of the day?
I actually had a very stellar IPA over the weekend, one that was actually globally ranked at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in Vermont this weekend visiting family. So a little hazy right now because
Well, because of that. Was that an IPA joke?
no, it wasn't, but it could have been if I was punnier. Can you edit something together for me? Don't do it. Don't edit
I'm not
it.
gonna.
Everything.
I'm not gonna do it.
Good. Leave it in raw.
But I'm gonna tell you I will.
Perfect. And I'm gonna believe you, then forget about this bit.
Fantastic.
Anyway, so I was visiting family up in Vermont. It was a great time. My dad had some what's called like Heady Topper is the name of the beer.
Uh-huh.
And IPA, he said like, I'm pretty sure this is ranked somewhere, and I googled it. It had its own Wikipedia page, so
Wow.
I'm like, okay, this beer must be important.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, apparently it was number 4 in the world according to Beer Advocate in 2018 or something.
Wow.
So I had it. It was good, real good. Problem was it was 8%, and I'm like,
Oof. And is this?
So I only
is
had
this
one or two
number
of those.
4? Was this number 4 in 2018 for all IPAs or just all beers in general?
Beer.
Wow, that must have been delicious.
It was really, really good. It was, I think it's a little subjective though, because it was pretty hoppy, but you would think it would taste like a tree when it's 8% alcohol.
Right. You would think so.
For an IPA, but no, it was actually a very smooth IPA. Imagine just kind of like a hoppier version of Broken Skull.
Oh, see, I love Broken Skull IPA because it doesn't taste like an IPA. It's just nice.
Some IPAs lean more into the citrusy side of things, but some IPAs get very hoppy. And that's where I get Heady Topper. They leaned right into that, and it was good. But it's funny, on the top it said "drink from the can," and it gave me like several paragraphs why I shouldn't pour it into a glass because it wasn't designed that way. It's like, yeah, if you pour it into grass, the resin's gonna go to the bottom. It's gonna taste weird. And I'm like, this is there. Not since Guinness have I been so annoyed with drinking instructions. I don't know if I like this.
I just know my dumb ass would be reading those instructions while pouring the beer, being like, "Oh no!
Oh God, help! Bad form.
What
bad
have
form.
I done?"
Would you say? And it'd be the worst if you spilled it, like spilling off the side of a mountain or a rock climbing course. Because I almost forgot what we're doing right now.
That's right. We don't have a beer podcast yet, but we do have an anime podcast. So let's get right to it. What are we talking about today, Rob? What's the show that we're speaking upon?
I'm still trying to figure out what that is. I watched the whole thing, but I'm still trying to figure it out. This is called IWA-KAKERU. It's a 2020 anime, funny enough.
Oh, okay. So it's very recent. Okay.
It's now it's coming up. It's like 2 years and a few months old. You know, this came out in fall. It looks like of 2020.
Okay.
So how I found this is very interesting. One of the classic tricks, and I wasn't even looking for stuff for the podcast. I was just looking to browse some anime. I was in, sometimes even when we're not recording for the show, you get an anime mood. It's like, I want an anime right now. I don't know what, but I'm gonna give it a go. So I did, and I went to the sports section. I'm like, I haven't watched a good sports title in a long time. I have some experience with sports anime, admittedly not a lot compared to other people.
Me too. I think I'm on the same exact boat as you.
Yeah, exactly. So I did. I just but then I saw this one about girls rock climbing, and then I thought, I'm taking a gamble here, but Bouncy, I think we should cover this one. I don't know what's pulling me to this one, but I think it's worth covering.
I think, it's funny because that you can't necessarily describe what you found funny about it, because I also can't necessarily describe what I found funny about it. But when you sent me a text that said, hey, you want to cover this? And it was just the cover art of IWA-KAKERU, sport, and it said sport climbing girls. And it's just the
subtitle is sport climbing girls.
Oh, and it's just like a bunch of ripped chicks just climbing rocks and climbing walls. And all of them are like, oh my God, the muscle definition is crazy on them. And but they're surrounded by like little hearts and like purple dots and stuff. And I was like, well, absolutely, we have to do this.
So it looks like it might be right up our alley. Yeah. And we dove head first. I finished this a few minutes ago because I just completely forgot that oh, wait a minute, was I supposed to do something? And I just realized I forgot episode 12. So I'm very fresh with this in my mind. Bouncy, when did you watch this? When did you finish it?
Okay, so this one, I actually did something that I never do, which was watch it over a very long period of time.
What you mean the way you're supposed to watch anime?
Shut up.
No, I won't shut up. Wow, I mean, congrats on you for doing this.
No, please don't shut up. If you did shut up, we wouldn't have a podcast. So please continue talking.
But keep going over a long period of time. How long would you say?
I would call it like about not a month, maybe like 2 to 3 weeks of time. So it was over a long period of time. I think I started watching it right around the time where you sent it to me. Okay. And talked about wanting to do it for the show. I was like, all right, let's see if like this is good or if this is shitty. Like, let's start getting into it. So I think I watched it kind of alongside a couple other things that I was watching for the show. So I was like, there were a couple different series that I was getting into. So I took this
at
one
the same time.
Yeah, and kind of gradually did it. I maybe watched like 3 episodes in a sitting or to 4 episodes in a sitting every time I saw it. And then I finished it a few days ago. I was on a plane a little bit ago and I was going to watch it there. But Crunchyroll does this annoying ass thing where I downloaded like 10 episodes of it, or like maybe 5 to 10, some crazy amount of episodes.
Right.
And I was like, great, I can watch these all on the plane. I watched like maybe 4 on the plane going there, and I had 3 episodes left. And I was like, oh, great, perfect timing. But then Crunchyroll, what they do when you download an episode of something, but then you don't watch it for like a week, it just deletes it. Or it just decides like, oh, you're never going to watch this. I'm just going to get rid of it. And
that's so mean.
You can't do anything about it. And weirdly enough, like I was in Italy, and no country out of the United States has, I feel like, very good Crunchyroll functionality. Even Japan, like when I was in Japan and my episodes expired over there, I think I was watching Chainsaw Man at the time. I couldn't re-download them because Crunchyroll just isn't functional in Japan, which is so strange.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ironic over there, but I'm sure that has to do more with rights issues for Japan in particular. I'm pretty sure like they have more local services for like, tailored to the market. And also if they're airing on TV at the time, they may not be streaming in Japan at all. Who knows, depending on the company. I don't know. I'm talking out of my butt.
No, your butt talk actually makes a lot of sense, because I read some forums, not to go down this rabbit hole for a second, but I went on some forums to like figure out, why is Crunchyroll not really operational, or can I stream things on Crunchyroll in Japan? And a lot of people, like a lot of Americans who went to Japan, are like, I thought I was going to be able to watch anime all the fucking time, but turns out you can't in Japan. which is crazy because this is the place that it comes kind so you would think that there would be a streaming service for it or something, but no, you just kind of gotta figure it out in terms of
you kind of got to do it,
watching it illegally, or you gotta watch it on live TV, or you gotta I don't know, subscribe to cable in Japan, or I don't know.
Good luck getting anyone our age to actively pay for cable.
Well, enough about the intricacies of climbing the ladder of media in Japan. Let's talk about climbing rocks for high school
and the girls who do it.
Yes. All right. I don't know how to exactly start this one. So I'm going to open a beer.
Oh, perfect. I think I kind of know where to. You good? You're laughing a lot for a person who's opening a beer. I was going back to the Wikipedia to remind myself how to properly pronounce some names.
Oh yeah.
It looks like not only were you opening a beer, you look like you weren't supposed to be doing so, as if you're like 16 years old, sneaking some of your dad's stuff. Like, yeah, gonna have a Pilsner. And you drink it, and you go, oh, I don't know if I'm a Pilsner guy.
Which is exactly what has happened to me in my life.
I know. That's kind of
know me very well. No, I laughed because I smelled it because it opened up and I was like, oh, that's alcohol for sure. And I've been waiting to drink this for so long, so I just feel a little naughty because it's a Sunday night and I got work tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm gonna indulge a little bit.
And I have to work tomorrow as well, but I don't have work until probably 4:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, fantastic! So that's very nice.
I have a little extra wiggle room, so I'm gonna open my second bush and talk about our main character.
Yes.
Yes, her name is Konomi Kasahara.
Oh yes.
She's the one with the short purple hair and the chest.
Yes. You could describe a lot of characters in this show with the one with the chest.
Except for the ones who purposely don't have a chest.
Yes. Which are the ones that I like.
We'll talk about your main girl in Infinite Stratus later, because I'm getting flashbacks. Very hard flashbacks to that one. No. But anyway, so we learn about Konomi. She's just kind of, I guess, the kind of trope thing in current Japanese media where she's like, what am I doing? What's my purpose? I used to video game a lot. I got way too addicted. I need to have a real life with real things and real people in
what's my hobby? What is my purpose? What am I doing? And she's going to school, so I mean she could easily throw herself into that, but she decides, not for me. I don't know.
No. She's way too cool.
Way too cool for that. So
she's got that big protagonist energy, so that's not where she's going.
She's got also those big protagonist. Anyways,
eyes.
She eyes, yes, sparkly eyes, and she one day stumbles across
double D eyes. They were great.
Double dyes. Oh boy. But she one day comes across a rock climbing wall at the school, and she's like, wow, I haven't...
Just a big fucking rock climbing wall in the middle of the school.
Huge, and she hasn't noticed it before. And she decides oh, okay, I'll join the rock climbing club. And the rock climbing club is full of interesting characters. And
by full, we mean there's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them, yes. And they're actively looking for a 4th member because nobody wants to join their stupid rock club.
But somehow they still were able to get the funding for this gigantic rock wall, and it's not the first time they get funding for this.
They get a lot of funding from this school for this activity that hasn't done anything for the school, it seems. But more on that later, because there's a lot of weird intricacies in this show that I would love to talk about. But
that's most of the show is weird intricacies.
It really is. You make a great point. I gotta say. But either way, the characters. I'll run through the characters. So you have Katsuhara Konomi, or we'll call her Konomi. You have Jun Uehara. You have Sayo Yotsuba, and you have Nonoka Sugiura. We'll call Jun Uehara as Jun, and we'll call Sayo as the captain, and Nono is the little redheaded girl.
No.
So the 3 of them...
No.
Oh, no.
No, that's Hoki Shinono. Again, stop thinking about Infinite Stratus.
I'm sorry.
Why did you whisper that?
Because I do keep thinking about Infinite Stratus today. I refreshed my memory a lot on it today, so we're going to be getting...
Oh, and it come hitting you like a tidal wave?
Oh, yeah. Boy, did it ever. Like a Charles Dunois-shaped tidal wave.
Sorry. What about these girls, Rob? What did you think about our characters, our classic, our setup of 4 characters?
Well, the thing is, I love how you said classic there because that sums up my opinions of them. See, here's one of the things I want to get into immediately.
Alrighty.
I just spent 12 episodes with these characters.
Yes.
I can tell you their backstories. I can tell you what happens to them plot-wise and how they go through this journey. With the exception of June, very late in the series, I can't tell you anything about their personalities.
I agree.
None.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it's hard to say what I think about them. I could talk about the story they went through, where episode 1 started and where episode 12 ended. And by the way, we're going back to that Spirit Chronicles problem where way too much fucking happened in 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Just
there was a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
I read in one of the Crunchyroll comments, I think it was one of the later episodes, and it said, this feels like a fucking speed run.
No, it really does, because I mean they were getting to the end of the series, and ironically enough, what they were working on at the end of the series was speed running.
Yes,
in terms of like climbing the wall very fast and like getting proficient at that. And by that time, you would have like entire tournaments go on in the first 10 minutes of the episode, and you're like, a whole fucking tournament just happened, and we have 10 minutes left in the episode. Excuse me. It's just all like, even up to the very end. Like, I want to continue on that point because on the very, very end, the last episode, it like ended so fast. Like it happened.
Yes.
And because you watched it just a few minutes ago, like the credits rolled like right after it was like the ending. No time to like cool down. No time to be like, oh my God, great job. You climbed that wall. Good job rocking. And then the end of it just, let's climb.
Yes. That is what happened.
And that was the song.
Yes, and then the show fucking ended. It was amazing.
Yes.
Because I was expecting like the little, to borrow a crude phrase, the afterbirth, where like, the main thing's done. Let's get to the rest of it. Let's recover here. Let's cool down and leave with like an emotional cliff note. Like, hey, here's what you should have felt.
Right.
But it just ended.
Yeah.
So this entire show was kind of a whiplash of a snap of a finger. Next thing you know, like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, I thought the beginning of it maybe was a little slow-ish, and then I think maybe somebody in the writer's room realized, oh boy, we kind of have a lot of story arcs to get in before the very end of the show, so then they really sped things up towards the end. But
even in the beginning, I remember it being kind of quick. I remember saying to myself, like, okay, because I think it was the first episode ended, and they said, we have a tournament tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she's like, tomorrow? Here's the thing.
Nothing reminded me more of our 3-episode rule on My Dress Up Darling when that happened.
Yes.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yep.
That's one of my notes here. I took some notes. They get much less detailed as we go on because I actually stopped taking notes after episode 9.
That's fine. I took like 5, and that's it.
Because what happened is, like I said, I was traveling all weekend and in rural Vermont. So when I was home, I could watch this and like I could connect to my Wi-Fi and watch it no problem. But if I drove into town or drove anywhere, I would have no internet or cell reception. You know when your phone says no service and you just get sad or really invigorated because you feel like you're off the grid and you want to go punch a cow?
Yeah, definitely. Move.
Yeah, because where I was, there were just cows everywhere, and after a while, you just want to punch a few of them. Just like, fuck you, cow. You want to slap a saddle on the horses on the farm, ride up, go hit a cow, and then just go have dinner.
Rob, did you take your frustration out on this anime on cows?
No, but like I was very frustrated all weekend, Bouncy. I'll be honest, because I was a couple episodes behind.
Oh no!
On the way back home, and I'm like, all right, I have some stuff to watch today. Let me just pull up my phone and do it. Had to wait like an hour and a half because when you're driving through like Granville or Hoosick, New York,
I've never heard of those places, and I've lived in New York my entire life.
Well, Hoosick is the only place I've seen where a McDonald's is closed, so that's how you know. I say that, but Hoosick does have this cute little downtown area. So I'm actually curious to explore Hoosick a little bit, 1,000%, because I love the name Hoosick.
Hoosick sounds like a like a cover band of Hoobastank, you know?
But people who are like doing it ironically and are very very tired of Hoobastank, so it's Who Sick.
Who's sick? And they're like dressed up in like smocks from the hospital and stuff, and like they all play instruments in hospital beds. Yeah.
I don't even know where to go with that one.
I'm sorry. What were you talking about?
I'm gonna do what I normally do here: take a swig of beer and
Great.
look back at my notes and be like, "Oh crap, anime."
Oh no, anime. But
But no.
Yes, continue.
But back to what were you gonna say?
I'm
feel
sorry.
Like I just cut you off.
No. I was gonna reference what you said earlier about having these 4 core characters, right?
Yeah.
Konomi, June, Sayo, and Nono, and only really getting some character development from June. I felt that June was absolutely the best character of this entire 12 episodes because she actually had some sort of progression throughout. I know Konomi also had a progression, and you can kind of see it, but I think her progression was more along the lines of like a Rio-esque in Spirit Chronicles progression.
Yes, a little bit, but the thing is with Konomi, she had a progression in skill, not in personality.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, so
that is correct.
While June had an emotional journey, Konomi got a little more ripped and learned how to climb plastic rocks better.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, but I have to ask, when it comes to June, are you saying she's the best character because of that fucking shredded six-pack she had?
She is stacked. Oh my god. If she existed in real life, like, she'd be first on the kickball team every time. Like, she is the
kickball team.
She is the epitome. First pick, first draft. She is the epitome of just like ripped waifu. God damn, she is great. Big fan of June. Big fan of June.
I will say this is my first anime experience with actually ripped waifus. I know there are more out there, but this was I guess I got something from this show.
Eye-opening, life-changing.
Oh, my pants will never fit the same again.
But yeah, I mean,
came out of
what? Sorry, what just came out?
I was going to say that just came out of my mouth right now. Oh God, this is already getting off the rails.
Oh no.
Or should I say off the wall?
Oh,
live your life off
baby.
the wall, living off the wall. I love Michael Jackson.
Oh God.
Anyway, rock climbing girls.
Rock climbing girls. But yes, I agree with what you said. I think June was the only one that had any personality advance in the show. I think Konomi didn't really change her personality much, but I did like the Konomi character a little bit, to be honest, because I think her big angle, what you talked about before, like being a gamer, I think I really enjoyed that because every time she was analyzing a wall, and like her big thing on the team was that she could analyze a wall and climb it in one shot. So she could analyze it, and they gave her a couple nicknames, like her murder observation was one of the nicknames given to her, which is just very weird and very off in translation, I'm sure. But it is just very strange. And she was able to like analyze a whole wall and do it in one shot. I really enjoyed that part of her. And every time she analyzed a wall, it kind of lined up like a game of Tetris or something, or like a game of Candy Crush, where everything
it's that bubble game, like, you know, where you shoot the bubbles and like you eliminate all the same color bubbles that they had at every like bad arcade ever. But you know, thank God they had it, or else it would be suck.
Or right, and yeah, she had that for every wall that she climbed, and I don't know, I enjoyed that part of her, and also the idea of, you know, well, right, you can climb it in one shot mentally, but physically you are very, very lean. So you need to train with June and us and do some goddamn weightlifting. And the
only one part that actually got a decent chuckle out of me was when someone insinuated she was a little big, and she just kept saying chubby to herself over and over again, like, I'm chubby.
Yeah.
While doing various exercises. That running bit went on for like a little too long.
Yeah.
It made me really laugh by the end. I'm like, okay, this is going on too long.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I think the overarching storyline was fine, and she just has to get good at rock climbing because she wants to match the other 3 people on the team and be able to win the team championships in Japan, the high school team championships. She like there's a brief maybe 2-3 episode arc where she does like the championships in Kanto region, and she does very well and ranks in the top 20 because she's able to like knock out these walls no problem. I feel like
she crushes the prelims.
Yes. However, through her progression throughout this story, that is the thing that interested me the least in terms of, oh, like she did well rock climbing this time. She figured it out. Now she's rock climbing better. The other things that interested me, which I think the show did a weirdly good job about, was introducing just very odd, very random characters throughout the entire show that kind of had a little role, but didn't really, like the fucking cat girl who just talks like a cat the whole time.
Oh, the pun girl?
Yeah.
Her role gets pretty funny because
It does.
they introduce her. She's from a competing high school, and she's known as the rookie killer. So she's basically Bob Holly. So what her role is to her role is essentially to bully rookies because she hates them.
Yeah.
And they actually explain why pretty quickly and succinctly. She was in the same rock climbing gym that June was in when she was a child. You know, one of Konomi's partners on the school team. And basically the cat girl just watched June absolutely crush rock climbing immediately and very quickly. So she got super jealous. I don't know where the cat thing came in.
Neither do I.
They never explain that. She just does a bunch of cat puns, and it's that some of them are awful. But
if only
not
she
get
just
ahead of
wasn't.
ourselves.
If she wasn't so popular.
Well, let's just make the meowst of this very bad situation. Let's land on all fours and regroup.
See, but this is the level that she would operate at. But also, she would have a very weird voice. It would be like, meow, meow, meow. And I'd be like, what? And like every time a character came up to a bunch of group of them and she was in the group and was like, girls, and they would all turn around and be like, yes. And she would be like, meow. I mean, like, I just love the weird subtlety of just really just going full tilt on making this random cat girl an operational human being in this universe.
But it's just so funny because she wasn't just a goofy side character. She had a couple of key moments.
She did. She did.
And even like rekindle, because June goes through this really cool story arc where she just kind of gives up on climbing for a little bit. And now next thing you know, the fucking cat girl is instrumental in like getting her back to her former glory.
Yeah.
It's like, why is she this character too?
It's very interesting. She occupied a lot of different slots in the storytelling, especially with June, because she would tell June, like, you know, we grew up climbing together, and like, I'll be damned if you're not going to be your best and I'm going to beat you at your worst. So I need you at your best. And like, there was some of that, which I think
like every anime ever.
Exactly. Which went really well, and everyone was happy and loved it. Yes. And moving off of Catgirl, there were also a couple other choice characters that I wanted to talk about. Namely, the woman that runs the shoe shop.
Oh, right. The one who like took Konomi's foot and like rubbed it all over her face and said, "You need this shoe."
There were some great lines from her.
I think I went to bed
God.
after I watched that episode. Like on the first night of me watching this, I think I might be episode 4 or something, 4 or 5. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember like watching that, and I don't know if I actually went to bed, but I just remember thinking, why am I doing this? Why did I suggest this show? Why did I do this?
Why did I offer to do this 1 year ago today?
Who is this girl? Who are any of these girls?
I've just learned so many things that I just never wanted to learn, you know? But I have a line from her that she said, like, while the girls were climbing and they were using her new shoes and whatnot, especially Konami was using her new shoes with like good grip on them.
Right.
She said, "I've felt up more naked feet than you could ever imagine." And I was like, this is phenomenal. This,
Humble
like,
brag, ma'am.
Humble brag, am I right? That was another random component. The other random component characters was the dad and the daughter in the woods. They just live in the woods and climb rocks.
Oh yeah, the dad's is a hunk with like this huge mane of white hair.
He's just like really hot, and he at one point comes to see all the girls.
He's like
climb.
one of only 3 males in the show. He's just a super hot old dude.
Just a hotter older dude, and like his daughter is always talking to Konami, who she calls Master, weirdly enough. And she's always talking to her, being like, "Konami, you want to hook up with my dad, right?" And she's like, "I'm 15."
So get back to me in 3 years, and I'll think about
literally a silver fox. Like he is like, this man has to be in his 50s or 60s, like at this time. But he is a very attractive man, though, I will say.
I mean, I remember staring at him more than some of the females in the show, and that shows something because this show had the habit of focusing a lot on certain parts of the female anatomy, particularly butts, which is kind of more rare for anime. But
a lot of butt stuff, a lot of like crouching
butt
over
shots.
to view like the area in between. Like I would say like a lot of gooch shots.
a lot of gooch.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much boob as you'd expect, honestly.
Not as much. You're right. There wasn't as much like embarrassing boob stuff happening. It was just like, oh, they just happen to have huge boobies.
You know, and the thing is, not all of them did. And that's actually one of the things that surprised me most about the show. It was very light on the fan service.
Yes, it was.
It was.
You're right.
I was expecting a lot more like, oh yeah, these girls are so hot. There was a little bit of that, but it wasn't. It wasn't gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't. You're right. I think it wasn't hypersexualized as much as I thought it would
No.
be, especially because I started watching it, like seeing that cover, and they really did emphasize more their muscles than they did their like, fun parts, if you know what I mean. But
Oh, you're right.
you
That's
know-
a good point. There was a lot of random shots to girls' abs and arms.
there
Like,
was.
again,
I mean, it was a lot of like
June had a
ripped
legit
girl fan
6-pack
service.
ab.
Yeah, she did. Oh my god! Like you could wash your entire week's laundry with those things. But
And Konomi got more muscular showing on.
Yeah.
And this leads to another male character because at least there has to be one male character who's kind of a perv. And this is the guy who was like planning the routes for all these competitions.
he was my favorite character for the entire show.
You see, somehow I already knew that. I wish I was more surprised about that. But when you said that, Bouncy, I'm like, that makes sense.
I love that man. He came on like every competition and was a commentator during all the competitions and was
Yes.
like, I designed this route. Look at this route. Isn't that incredible? You can't clear it in one shot. You have to have at least 2 shots to clear my route. And then Konami clears it in 1 shot. And this guy with like
Yep.
triangle sunglasses and like the loopiest hair you've ever seen starts crying and is like, she is truly amazing. And then he
There's
runs
a few
like
characters with loopy hair.
they worked in a lot of loopy hair in this
Because
show.
there's this one fucking random girl who was a ballerina when Konomi was also a
Oh
ballerina
my
for some
God.
reason.
Her hair looks like yodels.
But I have to give credit there to the manga author here to give some explanation of why Konomi has any athletic ability.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because
Yep.
if she was just a gamer nerd girl, that's it. There wouldn't be as much, plausibility to her getting all like these these reflexes and like, her being so limber and whatnot.
Mhm.
But her being a former ballerina, that makes a little more sense.
It helps a little bit, especially with the balance component and
Yes, and they
flexibility.
emphasize early on her strength is the problem, and later on her
Mhm.
speed is the problem.
Mhm.
We don't learn much about her personality ever.
Ever.
But we learn she can't climb a wall
Ever.
fast.
And kind of going off on one other character that I thought was I would say this character is probably biggest heel and I've ever seen in any anime, to be honest.
Oh, is she the one who went Kuru Kurusu?
Yes, yes. I don't remember her name, but I think it was Ane-chan or something
Yeah,
like that.
Ane. Yeah.
And every
Ane
third,
Kurusu, yep.
oh my god, every third line, she's like the rock climbing stud of like Japan. She's number 1 in like the whole
Yeah.
country, even though she's like 18 or something. And she is just like crazy good at this sport. And like every time she enters a room, everybody's like, Ane-san. And she's like, Cool Kurusu. And everybody's like, woo, Cool Kurusu. And she
The thing
says
is, it's
that.
always like 100 dudes
So
screaming
many
back
dudes.
Kuru Kurusu.
And they never show the dudes. They're
They
always,
did once or twice, and then they just said, fuck it, they're there.
You know they're there.
You know they're there. Stop it. Which is, the show goes back and forth with a lot of realism or not.
Yes.
And this is one of the moments where they're just like, fuck it, it's fine. But in the background, I'm just imagining a bunch of dudes like hiding under a stair going, Kuru Kurusu.
That was really funny to me. Until she started saying it every 3 words that she said. Which was
Oh, most of the comments on
Oh,
Crunchyroll were,
God.
hey, Kuru Kurusu.
every time. And then she became like the biggest heel when I like obviously was looking at her and I was like, there's got to be some dark side to her, obviously. And then
Oh, I mean, this
Right.
was more obvious than any Big Show heel turn. It
So
was coming.
obvious.
You knew it. We all did.
you
And
saw
I
it
remember
3
even
rock
in the
climbing walls
comments-
away.
I remember even in the comments, it's like, oh, we all saw that coming. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, she's turning heel. And sure enough, she turned heel. I'm
Right.
like, you guys didn't even spoil it, and I knew it was coming.
Cool Kurusu, baby.
Cool Kurusu. Yeah.
And
She basically just stopped being cute and she yelled at Konomi. It's like, you can't beat me. You suck.
Yeah.
I'm great at this.
in the shower.
And then Konomi's like, why? Yeah, they had this conversation in the shower. And to go back to wrestling again, I was stabbed. I was scared because I thought it was going to be a Bruiser Brody scenario where he got stabbed in the shower in Puerto Rico.
Oh, God.
Actually happened. But except it'd be in a high school gymnasium in Japan. And 2 girls would be involved. So...
School days much?
School days much. You know, it's actually really funny. I thought about that. One of my thoughts during that shower scene, I'm like, can we just go full school days and just have a very violent stabbing? Just that complete tonal clash out of nowhere.
You know,
it would have been some salt and pepper the show could have used.
You know, Rob, after over a year of having seen School Days and just knowing about it, I think I just have a new opinion that I formed about it. The show in general, School Days, as it were, I believe is actually, to be honest, quite Cool Kurusu, to be honest.
I'm not going to get up and walk away. You know, every muscle in my body is screaming, run, Rob. You don't have to do this. Are you having fun still? And the answer is yes, and I love how they worked out the storyline in this show. You see? June, because that's her whole character arc.
Yes,
doing things because they're still fun.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, we actually, because I just want to mention this because it was a good storyline.
Right.
Story beat real quick. We talked about the cat girl.
Mm-hmm.
Cat girl was like challenging her to climb and reminding her of their older days when June just started climbing. And basically June has this epiphany. It's like, I've been taking things way too seriously. I mean, it's good to be disciplined, but I climb because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only moment in the show where I'm like, I like that sentiment a lot. Because as someone who's very busy, constantly working on creative projects, that's like the thing I'm continuously asking myself. I'm still having fun, right? This is still good. This is still a fun time.
Like, am I actually enjoying what I'm doing?
Or am I just doing it to do it? You know what I mean? Is this another job for me?
Exactly.
So that was the only time the show really got me. Mm-hmm. And again, these freaking side characters, I don't know why the cat girl had to be involved in any of this. or here's the thing. If you wanted a character and you wanted a goofy cat character, make them 2 separate characters. You know what I mean? Give June like a serious kind of rival and then have the stupid cat girl. But then again, all the cutesy villains in the show were like the craziest ones. Except the one with the bunny ears who was called the Spider, which I didn't get.
She didn't do anything after the first 3 episodes. They were just intimidated by her, and I was like, oh, she's going to get some sort of villain arc, and she just didn't. She just ended up
she got nothing.
Placing 3rd or 4th, and that was it.
The girl with like the light bluish hair.
They never finished their storyline on her either, because she actually got like the remnants of a beginning of a storyline, but they just never finished it. They just never capped her off, really.
They said ready, set, but they never pulled the trigger and said go.
Yes.
They just kind of left her at the starting line, like here's a story.
Right.
It's like they were trying to bait for a season 2. I'm like, don't do that. That's how the worst shows end.
That's how they do. It was not Cool Kurusu, to be honest.
It was not Cool Kurusu. I was very upset about
this. Not one bit.
I feel like there's a couple other goofy characters. They had another girl who was an analytical genius. If she was on the same high school as the bunny girl.
Oh, yeah.
Like the dark green uniform.
Yeah, that's right.
There was that girl. There was the one who was good at the rhythm games. Because
yeah. She was fun.
There was and these characters, that I'm realizing now, it was all the silly characters who kind of moved the plot along.
Mm-hmm.
Because the plot was directly tied to Konomi and her team growing in skill.
Right. And all kind of getting better at blind spots that they have, which
yes.
Konomi's blind spot was obviously speed and strength. Then June's was like the mental game. Nono's was that she was just too small. So
she was just tiny.
She can't stretch hard enough. And then Sayo's problem was she's always injured. Damn, what a Sin Cara, to be honest. She, at one point in the show, she's like one of the best climbers in the world or something, or in Japan. Right. And consistently finds a way to get injured.
To hurt herself.
Every single time. And they don't even bring it up as like, oh my God, she's injured again. It's just always like, oh my God, what are we going to do without her? I can't believe this happened. And she randomly breaks her finger, like doesn't even break it, just strains it. And then she's climbing one day after she like messed up her finger, and Nono's like, you can't do that. Your doctor said if you climb with that finger and hurt it again, that you'll never climb again. And I was like, that's a little dramatic. It seems fine.
I was going to say, is the finger going to fall off?
Yeah,
what's the problem
it seems
here?
okay. I don't think there's a problem here.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm noticing right now. This is this is probably the most classic sports fiction I've seen in a very long time, where it's athletes covering up their blind spots. It's we've been making wrestling jokes throughout this thing, funny enough, but coincidentally, these are a lot of pro wrestling storylines.
They are.
Particularly storylines that would come from Japan, because Japan presents wrestling, like we said on the show, hundreds of times. Japanese wrestling is much more sports centric, where American and Western wrestling is more personality centric.
Mm-hmm.
So all the storylines in Japan usually relate to someone needing to get stronger, someone needing better stamina to go longer in matches, someone needing to be quicker to beat a quicker opponent, someone needs to get better at the technical side of things. And that's what really drove the narrative here. These girls increasing in their various skills as they relate to this sport. Sports climbing. They don't call it rock climbing, they call it sports climbing. I don't know if that's actually what it's called in the Western world or if that's just a Japanese thing. I don't know.
I don't know
I
either.
didn't look it up.
I have no idea either. I just accepted it as sport climbing girls and just went about my day.
And Bouncy, was it me, or did this show feel like a giant ad for the sport of sports climbing? It's like, try this today.
It did. It did kind of make me want to rock climb. I have rock climbed before, and I think it is very fun, to be honest. But I haven't. But watching this show actually made me crave doing that again and doing that more often. If anything that I got from this show, you're right on that.
No, yeah, this whole show felt like an ad for rock climbing, and I don't think I've ever done it, but now I'm just like, yo, get me some of those grippy shoes. I want to try this now.
Yeah, I want to give it. Let me go to the woman that feels your feet up and just like put my foot in her face, and she'll give me some nice shoes, and then I'll yell cool.
And then I'll go to a
Kurusu.
rock climbing store and get my rock climbing supplies.
Yeah, because those exist.
I'm sporting goods stores are a thing. I haven't been inside one in a very long time, but I'm sure I can find shoes.
I just never group the words sporting and good together usually, so that might be my problem.
I usually group it with the word dicks because they have a sporting goods store.
Oh, that's right.
What? Oh my god!
I was like, yes. Where's he going with this? But yeah, okay, dicks.
Where's he going with dicks? I want to see where he's going with. Oh, you meant. Oh.
Where's he going with dicks? Because where he's going, I'm following. All right, Rob.
Coming.
I'm coming. Another wrestling reference, technically. Some good MVP.
Nobody can stop me. Nobody can. Oh yeah,
I'm coming. Great song. Great come.
Fantastic. Thanks, MVP.
Well, I believe, I don't know. If we could sum up just the end of the show real quick, like what happens is what you think
Well, it's funny because
happens,
this show
right?
is it me, Bouncy, or is this show proving hard to talk about? Because realistically, it was just a bunch of tournaments over and over again for 12 episodes.
It was. I'd like to say focused, but unfocused at the same time. Like it knew what it wanted to do, I think, with each episode, and it knew what it wanted to do with the characters, and I think it just accomplished that. But I guess by the end, when Konomi defeats Cool Kurusu woman and
well, technically
wins
did defeat her because she still came in first.
Oh, did she? Oh,
yes, in the individual ranking.
Yes, in the team rankings.
But in the team ranking,
they're Hanamiya, their school.
It was Hanamiya school came first in the team ranking.
Yes.
That's what they wanted to do.
That's right.
Konomi came in second overall.
Right.
So
that's right. I remember that.
Ane
yes.
Kurusu was still pissed about that.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, I still won, so
yeah. She won the individual title. You're right, and everybody, their team, because they all performed so well. Jun, Nono, and Konomi performed so well that the team won the team championship versus the individual championship, which was the entire goal of the show.
Right.
And they did it without their captain, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's very spoilers for Rocky, I guess, but it's very similar to the end of Rocky 1, where Rocky's goal wasn't to win, it was to go the distance, which he did. Mm-hmm. So, but the thing is, Rocky had a sequel where he did win. Do you think this would ever get a sequel And if so, would it be necessary and would you care?
Well, I can answer those questions very easily. Will it get a sequel? I don't think so. It's been almost 3 years since it came out, 2.5 years about. So
the thing is, now I never know because Devil's a Part-Timer got one after 10 years.
I guess, yeah, you're right. But then again, like Devil's a Part-Timer, I think that's a more celebrated show than this, at least.
Oh, totally. I've never heard anyone talk about this before in my life.
I've never heard about it before you even sent it to me. So do I think it's going to get another season? Probably not. Does it need another season? Definitely not. Do I care enough to watch another season? Absolutely not. I don't think it really. It was a fun watch. Don't get me wrong. But if we're in the section of the podcast now where we talk about it if it's bad or not, I do not think it was bad, but I also didn't think it was great by any margin either. I didn't think it was very good. I was slightly entertained by it as far as I can say. Like there were some really funny things that happened and really funny characters that I saw.
Right.
But throughout, it was all right.
By episode 4, I was saying to myself as I was falling asleep, "Oh, that's my dog running around the background.
Barney!
He's doing good."
Aw.
Oh, Bud. I love that dog. But anyway, by episode 4, I was in bed falling asleep, yelling to myself, "This sucks. Like this is just boring and stupid." There was a couple of cool moments, yeah. I think you're being a little generous with I was, at various points, I was actually mad at this show.
Wow. Really? Anger?
Yes, because I felt like it was wasting my time.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, there was so little original about it. And the thing with the whole Konami shtick, the gamifying life. Do you remember Battle Game in 5 seconds?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking about when I was watching this.
So yeah, this character's been done before, and that show's fucking derivative nonsense as well. So here's the thing. It added so little. I did like June's arc, and the message, make sure you're having fun while you're doing whatever you're doing, that resonates very true, so I appreciate that. But one sentimental note I really liked, cannot save a show that felt like a clip show more than an actual drama. I think this needed to be 25, 26 episodes. And it would have been good.
Oh.
If we had been given the personality, or if they just, at any point during like the fucking 5 tournaments they had in this thing, if they stopped at the first 3 and stretched it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it was, once they got to the tournament angle, it was nonstop every time.
Well, so by episode 2, it was just so many tournaments happening at once. And at one point, there was a 6-month time skip between episodes. It's like, Konami, you did a bunch of tournaments on your own? She's like, yeah, I want to kick ass in the combined high school championship.
I remember that.
And I'm just like, how many tournament arcs can you have?
Yeah.
This is insane. I liked the sports-centered aspect of the show, but it just spent way too time focusing on rock climbing as an activity.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't really focus on the characters too much.
No.
I think something else about this show is that I weirdly really liked the background music.
Interesting. I actually have a note about that somewhere in my notes. Episode 7, I wrote, the soundtrack had its first good moments. That was my only note for episode 7. I have no idea the context of that note.
The soundtrack had its first good moments. I thought they had like maybe 3 or 4 songs that they cycled through in the background music, but I thought they were all really good. I really enjoyed them.
I mean, that's a cool touch if you dug the music. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really pay attention. I did notice it once, enough to make a note of it, so I'm not going to disagree with you, but yeah, no, I got to call this show bad.
Wow. I didn't think you were gonna I didn't think you were gonna come in with that. Actually, I
have to go. It was there just wasn't enough here for me to call it good. It was animated fine, you know.
Yeah.
But thing is, it was just fine. It wasn't inspired.
I think everything in 2020 on is animated fine, if not very good. So
yeah, that's the thing. So the bar's a little higher now.
Yeah.
But this was just fine. You know, in a lot of ways, but then I realized how bored I was and just how aggravated I was.
Yeah.
And, this shouldn't surprise you. The show was very heavy on plot and very light on character, so that's designed to piss me off.
True.
So if I had got to know Konomi, if we dug a little more into Nono and Sayo, we could have had a good show here. If we gave any of the villains any time at all, because we got nothing.
Nothing.
We got a little bit from Ane Cool Kurusu, and that made me want to kill myself. So I wasn't a fan of that. There wasn't a lot of strong heel work here. The Meow Girl was okay in spurts, but
yeah,
she wasn't a threat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ane was the only actual threat. The Bunny Girl did nothing for me. The blue hair girl, that was a fumble more than a character.
It was. I agree.
That was a bunch of notes they had, and then they accidentally realized they animated it, and they're like, oh shit. Let's ignore it, please. So the show was just a mess. It was bad.
It was kind of a mess. They also had that angle about like when certain girls, have like a spirit animal or something that they use to.
Oh yeah, and she was the Black Panther.
Yeah, she was a panther, and then the girl with the bunny ears was like a spider, as you said. And
but why wasn't she a bunny?
I don't know. They just went with this weird angle that never also got fleshed out. Like nobody got their like special powers, quote unquote, in that regard. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just weird. I think it wanted to do a lot that it didn't necessarily get to do in terms of a sports anime.
Well, that's the thing. If they gave this 26 episodes, I think it would have been a lot better. Mm-hmm. And I know I advocate for things being short all the time, but if you have a story that needs time, you got to give it the appropriate amount of time.
Yeah, it was smushed. As we said earlier, even like as the show ended, the credits just rolled immediately, and there was no time to check what had been done, no time to
there was
recover.
No afterglow, no cool down, no tag, no nothing. Whatever you want to call those last few minutes of a show, there was none here. Japanese storytelling, modern storytelling especially, has always been light on that. So that's also a different, cultural thing there. Mm-hmm. The three tradition. Remember, there's one form of Japanese play. I saw a video on this where like they related that to modern Japanese fiction, where it's because in a traditional American fiction, you have the 5-act structure: action, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. In Japan, it's a 3-act structure where it's a slow, rapid end, where you take your time, really getting to know your characters, your world, your scenario, and then, oh my god, so much happens, and then boom, you're done. Mm-hmm. So it's more of a roller coaster. It's more of a ding ding ding,
like a quick cut off,
a very quick resolution at the end. Mm-hmm. And you see that a lot in like Super Sentai and stuff, where like the most like basic form of Japanese storytelling, in a lot of ways, where it's like, wow, after the big monster gets killed by the Megazord, it's like, wow, that was over. I'm glad we're all okay. It's like a 30-second scene of them like in a cafe somewhere, and then they throw food at the Pink Ranger. Right. So that's all it is there. So the end credits got me a little bit because it was fast even by Japanese standards, but it was still fast. Quick. It's like, guys, you gave us nothing.
Yeah,
there.
They really didn't. And whether I think you're in the camp that it's bad, I'm going to reiterate that I'm in the camp that, like, not bad for me, but, not anything that I would ever think about going back to. But either way you slice it, it seems like this anime was not Cool Kurusu.
Unfortunately, it was not Cool Kurusu.
And that's sad.
I might use that for the rest of my life, but I'm going to forget where I got it in around 4 days.
And that's fine. It wasn't Cool Kurusu, unfortunately, but hopefully the next one will be.
But luckily, you're all Cool Kurusu.
Aww.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
It's bad. Wow, oh my god, what a rousing podcast of anime conversation. Am I right, my compares? Am I right, my weebdom? Anywho, you can send us a message if you want. Did you like this podcast? Did you hate this podcast? Do you want to kill me? Do you want to drench me in Calaxosaur blood and watch me drink it? That's fine. Just send us an email at badanimepod@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at badanimepod, all one word. You can also find us on YouTube as Bad Anime, and you could leave a comment on whatever video you want to leave a comment on. We'll read them all anyways. We don't care. I love you. Kiss, kiss.
Simple Equations Podcast Network.